let's talk about category number 1, which deals with how to use sales psychology in order to sell much, much more. And so tip number 1 is smile and talk business later. You never get a second chance to make a first impression. And remember that person that you met once, and you were very, very serious when you met them, and you weren't in a social mood, and that actually set the tone for the entire business relationship or lack thereof with that person. You remember that time? Now, a rookie mistake in business is to start talking about business and be too serious, right? Don't jump into business right away, okay? If you do that, then you're going to lose the priceless chance of bonding with them in order to perfect your first impression. So just remember to smile as well. Just be yourself. And Mother Teresa once said, "Let us all meet each other with a smile, for the smile is the beginning of love." So in your first meeting, what do you talk about? Well, what you do is you go to their Twitter profile and you see who they follow. If they follow baseball, for example, then find a way to talk about baseball. I love baseball, and sports is great boardroom talk. If they follow comedians or entertainers, bring that up in a natural and non-obvious way, okay? Just talk about something you're passionate about that they're also passionate about as well, based on who they follow on their Twitter profile or their Insta profile even. And what you can do is you can even go to their LinkedIn profile and see if you have any connections in common with them, or check out who they follow on LinkedIn or what groups they're in on LinkedIn. And I promise you that you will find something in common with them. Now, if you can't do this, then read the top news websites that day that you're meeting with the person, so you can familiarize yourself with current events and talk about that during your first meeting with them. And your best customers can become great friends with you. So get to know them well before conducting business. Ask them, where they're from and what they love in life, and just create a personal bond with them. Okay, that first impression is important. And don't talk about business until you get to know your customers or business partners, that is. Relationships are always more important than product knowledge. And once you understand who your customers are and what their needs are, then you can tailor your product or service to fit their needs and help them with their goals. But you need to generally believe that your product or service will help them achieve their goals. And this is a great segue for tip number 2, which is helping them achieve their goals by realizing that 3 things usually motivate people in business. Number 1, they want to make more money. Number 2, they want to get promoted. And number 3, they want to enjoy what they do. So how can you help them make more? Well, in my MBA program, I provide students with many templates that you can complete and bring with you to any meeting. Now, if it's a salesperson that you're meeting with, I teach you how to network and meet with potential customers. And then during the meeting with the customer that works in sales, okay, you can give them a 1-pager with the names of the 5 people that you networked with over LinkedIn that might become customers of the salesperson you're meeting with, for example. And if that sounds like a lot of work, then you have to ask yourself, how badly do you want this customer or this job? Now, if it's somebody that works in operations or human resources, then do research on a new product or an app or a website that can help them much more efficiently do their job. And I provide you with templates to help you do this as well, because every battle is won before it's been fought. So always go into a meeting with the philosophy of helping them. Give and you will receive. It's prophetic and it's been true since the beginning of time. And give generously with your heart when it comes to helping others. All right, tip number 3, over-prepare for all meetings. If your competition likely only spends 5 hours preparing for a meeting, then spend 50 hours preparing. If your competition spends 10 hours preparing for a meeting, spend 100 hours. And every battle is won before it's been fought, as I mentioned. So just be ready. Bring many exhibits to meetings and leave them in your briefcase. And pull them out of your briefcase if you need to show them as exhibits. And put your resume on one side of the paper and the exhibits on the other side if you want to. And I've done this many times in interviews, and I've gotten hired because of this. You got to also anticipate what questions the interviewer is going to ask you before the interview. And when I had my many interviews at Goldman Sachs, I completely over-prepared. I wrote down over 100 questions that I thought they might ask me, and then I recorded myself answering the questions over and over and over again. And I thought to myself when I listened to the recordings, did my voice sound too monotone? Did I sound too arrogant or confident? Did I sound nervous? No way. Were my answers short enough? Remember, less is more. And did my answers sound interesting and engaging, etc.? Now, a friend of mine that teaches at Stanford Business School was one of the early venture capital investors in Facebook. And of course, I asked her, why she was successful in winning the investment mandate as a venture capitalist with Facebook. And her response, Teresa told me that she over-prepared for the meetings with Mark Zuckerberg. And so what she did was this. She brought 3 different term sheets, meaning 3 contracts, to the meeting. And each one of those term sheets or contracts had 3 different dollar values. Now, what she did was she gauged Zuckerberg's level of criteria for the investment mandate. And she was able to pull out the term sheet, meaning the contract, with the terms that Zuckerberg was asking for. And her competition only brought 1 term sheet each. And as a result, she won the investment mandate and she made an absolute fortune.